Hey guys, thanks for jumping into the pond. I'm Doggone Froglog, and this is going to be my guide on Puck. Puck's a really fun champ. He's really interesting. He makes zombies, and honestly, who doesn't love zombies? If you've seen my channel art, you know I'm a fan of horror, and I'm definitely a fan of Puck. He has some cool skins, has the Ice Walker, has the Nutcracker, really cool looking. And his leader ability, deploy a zombie anywhere on the battlefield. The only thing to watch out for about these zombies is that they only have one movement. They're 1/1s with one movement. So be careful where you place them. But don't be scared to throw him out because he has a lot of synergy. Let's take a look. First up is Bloodright. It's 0 mana, but you spend all remaining mana to spawn a zombie with attack and health equal to the amount spent. It's an interesting card. It makes sure that you're always on curve at least. And you don't see it too much. It's a little bit new, but it's not too bad. It does what it does, you know. It gets there, it makes a unit, it uses up your extra mana. It's pretty interesting. Next up is Ritual Strike. Deal 1 damage if the target is killed, leave behind a zombie. So this works just like Odin's Dagaz, and it helps you get that little bit of extra oomph. It helps you answer something that you couldn't quite kill. Maybe you corpse explode a guardian for 2, and you need 1 extra point. That's when Ritual Strike comes in. And it's not bad, it's not great, makes a zombie, and you always want an extra zombie or 2 to set up for some of your combos. Next up is Unholy Offering. Destroy a friendly zombie and deal 3 damage to an enemy god. It costs 0 for 3, so the value on it's really good. The only downside is you have to make a zombie, so a lot of times it actually costs 2. 2 for you to use your leader ability once, make the zombie, deal the 3 damage. If they don't have any gods, you're not getting any value, and it'll just kind of eat up that spot in your hand. So be a little bit careful, but it's not too bad. Next up is Anguish. Silence a friendly unit, then silence an enemy unit. At 1 mana, it's pretty fairly costed, and at first it looks really bad, but there's a lot of times where you might want to silence one of your own units. Maybe they're hit with a soul bind, maybe they're hit with a shackle, any sort of effects that really mess you up. Maybe you want to silence that off your unit, maybe you want to silence one of theirs. You can't hit one of your zombies with it, which actually gives them more movement if they're silenced. So that's something to keep in mind as well. A lot of the value from it is in just tricky little unintuitive spots like that. Next up is Lingering Dead. It's 2 zombies for 1 mana, and who doesn't love more zombies? It's easy to use. The zombies have to go around your pillars, so that's something to be careful about. You can't throw them anywhere with this card, but it makes you some extra zombies. It does what it's supposed to do. Next up is Shrine of the Dead. During your draw step, reveal the top card of your deck and a random card from your graveyard. Add 1 to your hand and place the other in your graveyard. So Shrine of the Dead is pretty interesting. It gives you a lot of, lets you recycle a lot of cards, so it can be good. The only thing to be careful with is maybe like pulls a zombie from your graveyard, and you don't want that. So if your graveyard's like really full of zombies, you're not going to get as much value. But it only costs 1, it has 3 hit points. It's pretty fairly costed, and it can have a pretty good effect at times. Getting it out on the board is a little bit tricky, but it's definitely a good card and makes up for Puck not having quite as heavy value, since you can just recycle some of it. Next up is Barter Soul. Kill a friendly unit and draw 2 non-zombies from your graveyard. It costs 2, and a lot of the value lies in maybe you use some decays, maybe you've used some corpse explosions and you want to get those back. Maybe you just played in a Wheelix and it died and you want to get that back. So Barter Soul is pretty good. Make sure you kill something weak on your side of the board, or something that's going to die anyways that you can't really save. Maybe they're going to kill a melee. Maybe you took a melee unit over there, you traded with something, they're just going to kill it with an archer. So you Barter Soul, get 2 cards back, refill your hand, get some card advantage, and just go on crushing. It's a pretty neat card. Next up is Corpse Explosion. You're going to want to run 2 Corpse Explosions in Ranked. You're going to see it a lot in Arena. Destroy all friendly zombies. Each of them deals 2 damage to adjacent enemies. So Corpse Explosion does hit the tower, so you can go for Corpse Explosion lethal, one of my favorites. And it's a good card. It costs 2 mana. It can do a lot of damage if you have the zombies on the board. You use a Blight and a Corpse Explosion, for example. That's going to hurt. So I like the card, like the art. It's gonna do work. Next up is Death from Above. It recently got a buff, made it a little bit better because now it leaves a zombie behind. It drops a zombie from the sky and it deals 1 damage to all adjacent enemies. So it does a little bit of damage. It normally, it can help you get there. And it leaves a zombie behind for the corpse explosion or for a little oomph on that tower. It's a good card. There might be a better pick or two in Arena, but nothing too wrong with grabbing a Death from Above. Next up is Defiled Bounty. If you control 2 or more zombies, draw 2 cards. It's not a bad draw. It's 2 mana for 2 cards, which is definitely fairly priced. The only trick is that your zombies are a little bit easy to kill if you're throwing them at their tower in the early game, which is a pretty popular tactic. It's hard to keep them on the board because they're just constantly killing your zombies. There might be times where you just can't activate Defiled Bounty. Maybe set up for it with like your Wheelix or your Death from Above or something, and go from there. Next up is Grave Dig. Discover a card from your graveyard. Now, it's not bad. It costs 2 mana. The only thing is it's random what you're gonna get. And with the new Shrine in play, the Shrine's probably better overall than Grave Dig since you're getting multiple chances to discover that right card. It's not too bad, it's definitely not too great, and you very rarely see a Grave Dig come out. Hunbats. Now, Hunbats is the start of Opuk's value. Whenever another friendly dies, gain +1/+0 and +1 movement. You'll see this a lot because zombies love to get squished, and every time they squish a zombie, Hunbats gets stronger. He's really good in Arena with that extra movement and the +1/+0. You can definitely set up some good moments, like let's say you corpse explode 5 zombies, deal a good chunk of damage to their tower, and then Hunbats runs right across the board to finish him off. I like him, I run him pretty often, he's a great card. Next up is a Wheelix, and they've just changed her to whenever this unit kills a unit, spawn a 2/2 zombie. She used to go immune to damage, the first damage each turn, but I really like the spawn a 2/2 zombie. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to get those extra zombies out that you need, so she kind of makes up for that. Spawning a 2/2 every kill is fairly powerful, and she's not bad at all. She's definitely a bread and butter 3-drop. You're going to want to have her in your deck. Next up is Blood Bond. Kill a random friendly and an enemy unit and spawn a friendly zombie on the tile where the enemy unit died. This is a good card. The only downside is how random it is. So the trick to it is make sure that whatever big value you have out that you want to save, whatever threats you have out that you want to keep, make sure that you outnumber that with weak units or zombies so that the Blood Bond has a higher chance of killing what you want. Getting an extra zombie when you kill something is also really good. So if you kill one of your zombies with Blood Bond and take out their chieftain and then get a zombie there, that's just a lot of value. It's a lot of tempo in your favor. So definitely run some Blood Bonds. Definitely enjoy them. Just cross your fingers when you play it, because there's a lot of range in that card. Next up is Empower Dead. Your leader ability now deploys 2/2 zombies. So 1/1 zombies aren't that scary, but 2/2 starts to get a little bit tough, especially when you're just throwing it out every turn. It's pretty hard for them to stop you when their board's kind of empty and you're just throwing out tougher zombies every turn. I wouldn't run 2 of because you never want a second one. It doesn't do anything for you. But I definitely throw 1 of in most of my Opuk decks. Next up is Zablanc. And Zablanc is a lot of fun. Select Sun or Moon. Moon makes all enemy units who are ranged melee, and Sun deals 1 damage to everything. There's a lot of good moments to use this card. The Sun kills a lot of stuff, gets that extra damage in a lot of spots, and if they're overpowering you with ranged units, if they have a Stone Guardian or something, you can just completely counter that with Moon and let your ranged units go in for the kill. It's really good. You're gonna want to use him. He's a lot of fun. Next up is Capricorn, and Capricorn is pretty interesting. He's a 4-drop, 2 attack, 6 on the booty. On the opponent's turn, deal 2 damage to adjacent enemies whenever a card is played. It's pretty good. If you can get across their board and they can't answer it right away, it's 2 damage to their tower every single time they play a unit. So you're gonna really like it. He's gonna get in a lot of value. He just can't trade that well, but he hurts. He hurts. So if you play it when they have an empty board and you can just get over there very easily, keep them locked down, Capricorn can really speed up the game in your favor. Next up is Raise the Grave. Give all friendly zombies +2/+2. This is really good when you have a lot of zombies, especially if you have had Empowered Dead out for a couple turns and you have a bunch of 4/4 zombies. Even on 1/1s, 3/4 1/1s, all of a sudden going into 3/3s can end the game. That's a lot of tower damage, especially when you combine that with a corpse explosion. 4 zombies at 3/3, there's 4, 8, 12 damage. I mean, it hurts. And then the corpse explosion for another 8, that's 20 damage off 4 zombies. It's really, really good. So, next up is Sever. Deal 3 damage to a unit. If a friendly has died this turn, deal 5 damage instead. At 4 for 3, it's a little bit pricey, but at 5 for 4, it's pretty good. So make sure that you trade out one of your zombies before you use this. Pretty easy to use. Just make sure you get a trade in first with something. Make sure something dies, and then Sever. If you don't have to kill something, if it's just a 3-drop, then just throw it right out there. It does what it's supposed to do, and you're gonna see it often. Muzen Cobb. Deploy 2 hives on a war cry. Hives deal 1 damage to everything around them at the beginning of your turn. They're not that great, but we love them on my stream. They're hilarious. The best part about Muzen Cobb is that he's a 5/3 archer. So he's strong enough to kill a lot of threats. And the best trick for the hives is use them to block spots that they would want to go into. Use them to protect your units. It's kind of a shield wall. You probably don't want to put it right beside your units, especially if they're low health, or your zombies. Be careful that you set up the hives away from where you want to put your zombies. But you can use it like, let's say Odin's being really aggressive. You can use Muzen Cobb to block his front rows for a turn or two and buy you a little bit of time to build a shield wall of your own. So he's really good in certain spots. He's a little bit tricky, but I wouldn't cut him. I like him a lot. Next up is Jacques. Deal 2 damage. Plain, simple, easy to use. 2 damage anywhere you want to go. To the tower, to a face. It's great. He's only a 4/4 for 5, but that 2 damage easily makes up for it. And you're going to want to bring the Thunder with Jacques. Definitely grab 1 or 2 of him for your deck. Next up is Kukla Khan, and Kukla Khan is nutty. He is one of Puch's best cards. Whenever another friendly dies, spawn a tornado on a random enemy unit, dealing 2 damage and displacing them. It's really good. Let's say you have 2-3 zombies out, you play Cuckoo, you corpse explode, boom, there's an extra 6 to something. Using Cuckoo correctly can make trades very easy, because you'll bring units to a random spot on the board. So maybe they have something tucked in the back, you have an archer on your side but you want to kill it. You kill a couple of your own zombies, pull that unit all the way over to you. Even works with Blood Bond, kills your unit, pulls them over. It's just really good. You can set up a lot of high value plays with Cuckoo. He's only at 2/6, so he's not much of a threat by himself, but on the right board state, he can really end them. Next up is Decay, and this is Puch's best kill spell. Turn an enemy unit into a friendly zombie. And this turns them into a zombie. This does not kill them. This does not execute them. It turns them into a zombie. So if you're playing against Ganesha and you use Decay, they're not going to reincarnate because their unit is now a zombie, and zombies don't have reincarnate. It's not even theirs anymore. So Decay's really good. You're going to want to be using it. You're going to want to run it. It's a great spell. Next up is Blight. And if it came down to Cuckoo or Blight, you're going to want to craft Blight first. Deal 3 damage to all enemy units. Enemies killed leave behind a zombie. It's great. It gives you a lot of zombies. It enables all of your combos. It just works so well. It's a little bit pricey at 7 mana, but it's Puch's only board wipe. So you're going to want to run it. You're going to want to use it. You're going to love it. Next up is Camazotz. Now, Camazotz coming out after a Blight, that'll end a game. Camazotz is really good. He consumes all friendly zombies, gain +1/+1 for each zombie consumed. A little bit pricey at 7, but he does have charge. He is a 5/5, just a couple zombies on the board, and he becomes a big threat. So grab Camazotz after you grab your Cuckoo and Blight, and enjoy him because he's a great card. Thanks for tuning in for this guide. Make sure you catch me every single day on Twitch TV /DogGodFrogLog for more gameplay.